record.
What I was saying was that I'm following a lot of, not a lot, but I'm following a few Instagram wrestling pages. And I saw an amazing clip today that was a guy holding another wrestler in the ring like a baby and kind of like cradling him to sleep.
Yeah.
And then the whole bit is that that's how he like basically the other wrestler falls asleep. So the guy really gently lays him on the mat and really softly like places his hands on his chest. And the ref starts like slowly but really quietly like counting to 3. And the guy kicks out of the pin not by like super like energetically like lifting his shoulder up. He kicks out by just really slowly rolling over and starts sucking his thumb. I'm like, man, that's the wrestling shit I miss, dude.
You gotta send me that, because that sounds hilarious, dude.
I can't believe I didn't. I actually, obviously the first person I thought of was you, because other than another one of my friends that I grew up with, who we grew up loving WWF and WCW and stuff, like, no one else I know watches wrestling, man.
Defy is what it's called in Seattle. Mm-hmm. I went to a show last week, my first live wrestling show. So cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Live wrestling hits different, man.
Yeah, man. And it's just like, it was just this packed, like, second floor of, like, an old gym or something like that. And it was great. There was a John Moxley, who is a member of the Shield. I don't think you know him. He was there. He was, like, the big superstar. He's like, this guy was from WWE. He's our big guy. And minute into the match, him and his opponent are just like bleeding profusely.
That's what you want to see, man.
And it's like, they probably, more than likely, they did the thing where like backstage they cut themselves with razors on their head and like covered it with like foundation, right?
Oh, right. Or they had razors, like, you know, sometimes they keep them in their mouths, sometimes they put them in their wrist straps.
Yeah,
which I think is so fucking dangerous. Like, I've heard especially back in the day, that they would put a piece of a razor or a whole razor like in their cheek, like in their mouths, and just keep it there until they're supposed to cut themselves. Dude. And then I'm like, dude, you're getting fake punched and sometimes accidentally really punched the whole fucking match. Like, how are you not terrified that you're gonna slice your cheek open or fucking swallow a razor?
It's ridiculous, man. But I guess those are the types of people that get into wrestling, because they can, fucking psychopaths that like pain. Because even if, you know, like 80% of it could be fake, but there definitely are some real hits. People take bumps,
people get injured
which
all
is
the
like,
time.
Yeah, people constantly getting injured, especially right now. It's kind of a dark era for WWE because of that, because it seems like they're bringing in a lot of these new wrestlers and they're putting in big matches and they're injuring other wrestlers.
Man, I saw something from, I think it was WrestleMania, where a dude got dropped like right on his head.
Yeah. There have been, it was WrestleMania, and like 2 weeks before that, there were 2 incidents where a injury occurred live on TV that would have killed anyone that wasn't as fucking yoked as the wrestlers.
Right. Like the dude who got dropped on his head at WrestleMania, his neck is like a redwood tree. So he's so lucky he had those muscles to support his structure.
It is fake. Most of it is fake. There's real stuff.
Yeah, real shit happens.
And I really want to do it.
I fucking was waiting for it, dude. I had a wrestling federation in high school. The Teen Wrestling Federation, the TNF. Or TWF, see, I can't even remember. And it was awesome, and we made a championship belt out of cardboard and staples. It like cut our hands every single time we held it. We would wrestle mostly on, I mean, this sounds kind of weird, but we would wrestle mostly on my bed. And
oh, okay.
You know, in terms of,
I understand what you're
just giving each other the rock bottom.
Right.
Power bombs, stunners. So we broke probably in the course of like 2 years, probably like 6 box springs. And my dad would just be livid. Like, I remember I would lay in my bed and be like, kind of like almost rolling to the middle of it a little bit. And my dad would be like, why does your mattress look like it's sinking in the middle of it? And I'm like, I don't know. My bed's been doing that.
Oh.
Yeah, and he would like so much money, but it was so much fun, man. And I think I've mentioned my wrestling name like so many times on this show already.
Go ahead and give it again for the people who are listening for the first time,
Jesus
baby.
Christ. Well, I'm from Dominican. Well, my family's from Dominican Republic, so I was the Dominican Dragon.
The Dominican Dragon.
But I wish I could go back in time, man, because if I could change my wrestling name, I think it would be Cocodrillo Turbo. Turbo.
Well, you know what? Unintentionally, Lucas, I think you might have given us a great kind of transportation to. What's up, buds? Welcome to the Earbuds Podcast. This is a podcast where me and my tag team partner, Lucas over here, we talk about very good albums for a very good amount of time as the best tag team championship team in the TWF.
Yes. I was going to go,
And it's
tag team champions of the world! But you're not watching my
and
era.
It's crazy because you're still wrestling teens to this day.
Oh, yeah, dude, as often as I can.
And you do not go easy on them. Also.
No, I give them receipts, as they say, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, so they all hit me, and then I pay them. That's the thing, is like I know they're gonna hit me, so it's just excuses to hit teenagers.
Well, it's just weird because like every match you say, I don't want any bumps. I only want them to get bumps.
Yeah, I'm like,
I only want to perform.
I'm here
bumps.
to make you look good, man.
And I of course am your co-host, Brett, the veteran Hanrahan. I'm working on it. You know, as much as I've fantasized being on stage, I just cannot get like a wrestler name or persona. I keep seeing a new wrestler and I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. And then I see another one like, ooh, I want to do that.
Yeah, I only ever had a name. I never built a persona. That's why I never made it.
Oh,
no one believed me that I was a dragon.
But join with me, the Dominican Dragon, El Cocodrillo Turbo.
You couldn't even.
Lucas and
You couldn't even get it right. It's
whatever, dude.
Cocodrillo.
I'm not. I don't speak the language.
All right. Well, yeah.
All right.
You had to check yourself there for a second. I don't know what you were gonna say, but fuck yeah, man! Today we are talking about my favorite rapper. For once, I don't think we've ever.
Still your favorite
I don't think he's
rapper,
ever.
huh?
Yep, totally. I don't think he's ever
Okay.
been even mentioned on the show once.
Yeah, probably not.
And it's his newest album that just came out, and it's called Cocodrillo Turbo, which is just happens to be an amazing wrestling name. But my boy, who has another great wrestler name, Bam Bam Baklava, fucking Action Bronson.
Yep, this is his. What album is this? He's been going for like a decade now, right?
Oh yeah, well over a decade, man. He I think he had mixtapes coming out in like 2008, 2009.
Really?
I can't remember exactly, man. He has done so much music, like even leading up until this point. And I think that's something that we haven't even mentioned really on this show, like talking about rappers, dude, is like they do so much outside of just albums. They release so much music through mixtapes and then also being on other people's songs. I mean, how often does New Found Glory do a song with Fall Out Boy? You know, and you're just like, what? New Found Glory's on this song? Oh, fuck yeah. You know, like people don't collaborate like that in any other genre, I feel like. So Action has written hundreds of songs at this point, and he, you know, like I said, he's one of my favorite rappers. If not, I think he is my favorite rapper. And the last two albums has been kind of, you know, phoning it in a way.
And is this one included, Lucas?
I was a little worried it would be. I think I'd mentioned in our last episode that, which by the way, thank you so much for hundreds of people listening to that episode. Like, so fucking exciting keep sharing it with your friends. But I was a little worried. He released a single, and I didn't want to listen to it. I purposefully didn't want to listen to it because I was waiting for the whole album, and also I figured we were going to be doing it on this podcast anyway. But I happened to accidentally hear like 10 seconds of it because of an Instagram post that he had, and man, it sounded pretty fucking good. And I gotta say, I think my guy came with a little more heat on this record, and he really kind of impressed me a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I don't know if I share the sentiment.
Really?
I'll be honest. Yeah. Last episode I told you I was excited for this album. And the more I listen to it, I don't know, man. It's
I don't know.
It's just, I don't know. The thing
What's your fucking problem?
Action is always getting these interesting beats.
Yeah.
These like deep pulls from like, the 50s or 60s or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like
right?
Straight crate digger beats.
Yeah. And I know you like this about it, but honestly, it kind of seems like they just take a sample, they'll pitch it up, pitch it down, speed it up, slow down, and then that's it, and they'll just leave it at that, and that's the entire music for the song.
I thought the same thing, like listening to all his past records, because like you said, his beats are just so unique for hip-hop, the beats that he uses,
right?
And he seems to work with almost the same, like most of the same producers on every record, and they are all pretty psychedelic, which is what I liked about them, and that's kind of a through line for Action, where a lot of his beats are just kind of psychedelic, mostly because they're probably samples from fucking Turkish psychedelic rock from the 70s or whatever.
Right.
So they made the whole album to me just feel really heady and perfect for Action Bronson, because he's just such a, in my opinion, such a like sore thumb in a good way in hip hop, where he stands out so much to everyone else, that's especially people that are popular right now, but even like underground, even though he's not underground, I just feel like he's so unique. So the beats are perfect for him, and I thought the same thing, that all they do is take a 30-second portion of a song and just repeat it over and over and over again. But that's not really the case, man. Like a lot more work goes into these beats than you would expect. And I realized it because I discovered that website that I told you about, whosampled.com.
Yeah.
And they just have like millions of fucking songs on there, but a lot of the Action Bronson songs, and I was psyched because I was always curious where these samples came from. And you listen to the original songs, and they're basically taking like on every sample or every track on this record, which I would imagine is the same thing, they're probably taking 3 or 4 different individual parts from the song and mixing them all together, and then adding additional percussion or strings or keyboard or guitar or whatever over it. So it's not exactly 1-to-1.
Man, I don't know. I found a YouTube video, luckily enough, that had like where the samples from the songs were, and it kind of sounded like near 1-to-1 to me.
Shit. Well, one thing I wanted to do was look up the Who Sampled pages for these songs and listen to the sampled songs. So shit, maybe they got a little lazy on this one, because on everything I'd heard of their other samples, it definitely seems, especially The Alchemist, it definitely seems like he's taking bits and bobs from it and making something with it, So you didn't like the beats on this record?
I mean, I like the beats, but just the fact that to me, it sounds like it's just this one 5-second loop over and over again. It seems like the only things they really added were like intros and outros of like ambient jungle sounds.
Yeah, how did you feel about the wow, I can't even say it. Crocodile growls, and the jaguar and the pig, and
I mean, I thought, it's just like he goes out of his way to find the lowest quality audio that he can for like, it was the same with White Bronco where he
Yes.
found like the horse noises.
Yeah, the like free on YouTube horse sample.
Yeah. And then the friggin'
Turbo. Yeah, I assume that's from a video game.
I guess,
Yeah.
man. I thought though I liked that, you know. It's just kind of his style.
It's kitschy.
And
Yeah.
I'm into it.
It's cute.
But
It gets
I'll also
annoying. I didn't like
say-
the pigs. The pigs fucking got on my nerves. It kind of reminds me of I always forget which song it is, but it ends with like a minute and a half of a fucking machine gun going off and people like chanting and shit.
Yeah,
It's-
I think it was off
I think
White
it's off
Bronco, and it had
yeah.
it has Big Boy Bess on it, Big Body Bess.
Yeah. Which, dude, I was kind of thinking there was a line on this record where Action might have thrown a jab at Body, but I don't know why he would.
Man, I remember back in our review, I saw something on Wikipedia that said they had like a falling out, but
Oh,
I
you did
didn't
read that?
find. I literally didn't find anything else on it, so I don't know. I haven't seen
Well,
him.
people can put
I've-
whatever they want on Wikipedia,
Yeah.
but it is weird that he's not on this record.
And like I don't think he was on the last one either.
Only for Dolphins?
Was he?
I can't remember, man. I think he was on Lamb Over Rice. I'm not sure if he was like on an actual song, but it just sounded like they were all hanging out in the studio talking, so it sounded like he was on like.
Sure.
But yeah, he actually has a song that goes something like, you know, walking in here with no fucking body, or like I got no fucking body or something like that, and it was just the way that he said it.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, that sounds like a little direct.
I mean, that could just be Action's bravado,
Right, which is
Like, who
pretty
knows?
much all he raps about. And that's another reason why I like him so much, is because he's probably the best shit talker. He should have been a fucking wrestler, dude. He has the look. He has the fucking voice for it. I bet he'd be great
Maybe that's
at
what he's
it.
training for, man.
Dude, I mean, he said he was like preparing for a role or something in one of the lines on this record, but he has so many wrestling references on this record too that it just makes so much. It would make so much sense.
This whole album, so many references to guns, cars, WWE, and The Sopranos.
I only picked up on one Sopranos record. Were there more?
I have never watched it. I just went on Genius,
Mm-hmm.
and like, it seemed like every other song had like a line or two
Damn.
dedicated to something in The
I
Sopranos.
only caught one. My attitude, like Richie Aprile. Let's keep it real. And Richie's such a like pain in the ass character on the show. But yeah, man, he's got all, you know, he's got all the references. But to me, you know, if you think the beats are kind of lazy, which how many times is it going to take me to learn that you hate beats that are just the same thing over and over again, and are just meant for you to just, you know, groove versus fucking shit that you like on like clipping and stuff, and I always forget, man. So I shouldn't be surprised anymore that you don't like the beats, because I love the beats on this record. And go ahead.
It's not like I hate the beats or anything, you know, but it's all kind of, on this record, it's all kind of the same vibe of beats
Yeah.
for like 9 out of 10 of these
For
songs.
sure. I mean,
And it's like,
you liked I think you liked Sob Story, the beats on Sob Story, more than on his other stuff, right?
yeah, I liked those. I think it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of the same vibe. It's weird how, I think maybe he shouldn't even put Hound Dog on the record.
Hound Dog seemed like
honestly.
such a like throwaway, such a weird opener.
But
in terms of like his lyrics, I feel like his last couple of albums, he has been sort of resting on his laurels a little bit, you know, relying a little too much on his usual. It was almost, I don't know, it didn't sound like he was trying. He was just doing a lot of the same, which he's still talking about all that same shit on this record. But the wordplay and the actual lyrics I feel like he's trying a lot harder on this record. Like, you can kind of hear a little more intensity and effort in his voice even, you know?
well, it's so. This album is kind of an enigma to me. Did you see the YouTube video, the story of Cocodrillo Turbo?
No, I didn't.
It's like a 12-minute video that Action made before this album came out, and it's like it's just this weird psychedelic kind of experimental film of just this dude flipping through TV channels, and it all has to do with like crocodiles, and there's these weird visuals with segments of the songs on this album.
Okay.
And it's just inexplicable. I don't know what the fuck is happening the entire time. And so that comes out.
You obviously weren't high watching it.
I had to be high on something a little stronger than weed for something like that.
Yeah, man. Do what you got to do to like it.
But it's, you know, he, as you said, he has a lot of these psychedelic things in his songs. He has a lot of psychedelic music, you know, and all these promos and stuff. And then he just doesn't say shit about any of that stuff on any of his songs. So it's like, what the fuck was that even for?
I think what he does a lot on his songs is he has the theme of the album. He's like clearly thinks of the album name before he writes the record, because then he mixes in a lot of stuff about animals or about, you know, like he brought up dolphins like how many times on his last, you know, and Only for Dolphins, and you know, it's and White Bronco, like you said, with a horse, and with this one with all the jungle sounds and the crocodiles and the jaguars and shit. And I think it's like that's how he mixes in the theme, you know, where it's just let's do it in the music, and then every now and then in my lyrics I'll just like, you know, make references to it. He doesn't do it often, but yeah, I mean, I can see what you mean. I don't know why he needs to call out the trippy music or the trippy themes or anything in his lyrics.
It just seemed like this preview, this prelude of the album being so psychedelic that even I don't like the songs aren't even psychedelic on this one. This one, they're kind of like more traditional.
You mean as in the beats?
Yeah,
I think they have a lot of. I think pretty much every single one has psychedelic bits to it. You know, but it's not exactly look at Mars Volta. Sorry.
I mean, he also released a music video for Sub-Zero.
Right.
Did you see that?
No.
I thought that was definitely. It was probably the most interesting song because of what he was doing with it. The whole time it's this little jazz cymbal with this jazz music cutting in and out at random.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think I saw a bit of the music video where it's kind of has these like heavy filters on it, and it's him performing live and stuff. Some stuff, right?
The one I saw, he's on like a bodyboard. And he's just like surfing through this typhoon.
I saw that clip too. Man, it's crazy. I didn't even think to like watch or look up any of this shit. I just listened to the album like 6 fucking times and took extensive notes on his lyrics. Like extensive. I have so many references written down.
Man, do you kind of want to get into that side of things?
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Because I think that's mostly my appeal to Action is not just his personality and everything else. It just, you know, how his stuff is just so fucking stony. It's his lyrics, dude. I love all the ones that you can call out and go, I know what he's, you know, holy shit. You know, like the Craig Biggio line, like fucking got me, dude. I grew up in Houston. Craig Biggio was a huge deal on the Astros while I was growing up. And I just love that he called it out. And then the line immediately afterwards is talking about Mankind and Mr. Sacco. And I'm like, this guy was like made for me. His lyrics are literally like made for me.
Yeah, it's hard not to like a rapper who was like AI generated to fit every fetish you have.
Yeah. Like it's he seems to love all the same shit I love, and then he's gotten me into a whole bunch of other stuff. Like cars,
right,
and food, and wine, and stuff like that, and it's just I started understanding that all of that stuff combined is what a stoner really is, you know, is all these things you grew up with that you're just super passionate about, and it's all really fun, or just what you think is cool, you know.
Yeah,
like I love. I mean, that's such a great 2 lines, like. Bitch, I thought I was Craig Biggio, but I'm not ho. I'm the #1 Vato that'll choke a motherfucker out with Mr. Sacco. And then male divas with frail features get taken to a Hell in a Cell arena. Razor Ramon, like Razor's Edge a motherfucker off a bridge.
Yeah, I did like that line.
He even called out Edge, who you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. I forgot, like, jumping off ladders like on Edge. I think
Bronson's off his meds.
That's what that was. My favorite two lines were actually from features, but I forgot what song it's in, but he's talking about, like, it takes forever to pull this AK out of my shorts. Yeah. I thought that was, like, a funny image.
Yeah, dude. I thought the features were pretty decent. Hologram was pretty decent. Rock Marciano just was a little too quiet for me. Where Action's always kind of hype, you know? And Rock Marciano just was a little too chill. And because the beat was a little more funky, I feel like he just kind of brought down the energy a little bit. But he actually produced that beat. Or actually he didn't. He produced a different beat. Never mind.
Oh, okay. He produced a different beat on this record?
Yeah.
Oh. And he didn't feature on that one.
No, he did not.
All right, well, okay, whatever.
Dude, oh man, so many great references. He had an Iron Sheik reference, like swinging double 100-pound clubs, like Persia, or from Persia, like the Sheik. And he actually has been doing that. Like that's one of his workouts that he does, and I love it.
Of course,
yeah,
it is.
Exactly. It's so great, man. And like you said, a bunch of car references. 911 turbos, Range Rovers, Trans Ams, Rolls Royce, which is probably my favorite car line in the whole thing. Like 4 Rolls Royce disappeared off the lot, and then 4 Rolls Royce just appeared on the block. Yeah. So fucking fun, man. Love it.
There was another line I forgot from Action, but these two lines that I actually wrote down. First one is from Hologram, which is funny because it's like one of my least favorite features on the record.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Well, we can get into it, but I don't know if I really like any of the features exactly.
Yeah, and it was like kind of weird. I think on that one, that's the one where Action like interrupts him.
Yeah, which I love that.
Like this whole. I thought that was funny, but then he like starts from the top again, and it's like,
yeah,
I want to know what happened in the studio to like. Was there a story behind that or something? But
he's like, dude, hey man, I gave you 16 bars, and he's like, I only got 12, man. That's all I got. And he's like, all right, I'll just jump in and do 4 real quick. Which I just love it because to me it gave me the vibe of Action being so hype on the record that he like can't hold back and he has to fucking jump in. You know, I thought it was a great touch and it was funny.
He's just like, I got the picture like he just has this line ready that he's been thinking.
He's like, I gotta get this out.
He's doing like his whole thing is like clothing line, and Action's like, oh, AK goes up to my shoulder line.
Yeah, Action's like, let me just save this real quick. But what was your favorite line from Hologram?
It was just a funny picture. I guess that's just like what I like. Those are the rap lyrics I like that give a kind of ridiculous but still maybe cool picture.
Okay.
I think it's the last couple lines. She my little fuck thing. Eat the pussy like a muck thing.
Oh, dude. That, like, grossed me out so bad.
Dude, that's so funny to me for some reason.
It's hilarious, and it just makes you, like, every time I heard it, I'm like, dude, because I don't want to picture, like, ramen noodles coming out of a vagina. It's such a gross visual to me. What I think the best opening line on the record, by far, is they say Bronson disappeared like the AIDS from Magic Johnson's dick. That's amazing. That's probably one of his best lines in any song.
Dude, who remembers that whole thing?
So I mean, his callbacks are crazy. His retention, his memory is crazy. All these sports references that he does, and like, you know, everything that we were saying. Like, your bitch got a face like Pauly Shore, I think is a great line. And it's, you know, I feel like that's just what he does, and he's the best at what he does.
I mean, he's got his thing, man, and he's kind of got it locked down, is what it seems to me.
I figured you would like the line, "Goddamn, bro, you're looking like a bison." Nah, dog, I look like M. Bison.
Yeah, I did kind of like. I think the delivery was a little cheesy, But I did appreciate it.
He the line didn't really work for how much space he needed to fill, but man, I loved it.
But he's like, look, I got this thing, and I'm just gonna send it.
Yeah. He's like, I gotta, he's like, it's too good not to use.
And then my second favorite line, or maybe my first favorite, I don't know, was Mayhem Lauren on Turkish. Just because it gives like such a vivid image of doing pull-ups wrapped in my jewels is like a weight vest, anchor swinging off a ape chest.
Yeah, dude. Mayhem, I thought, brought it. He was definitely the best feature for me. I take it back. I forgot he was on a song. I'm so high. I totally forgot Mayhem was on a song, and he is great on it.
Yeah, I think he was probably the best feature on here, in my opinion.
For sure. And, even though you didn't like the beats, I got to say Alchemist did all my favorite beats on the record. And my favorite beat. I might be wrong, but memory serves me correctly. He did Estaciones, which is my favorite beat on the record. Jaws and Sub-Zero. I think he did those 3 in a row, and maybe a couple other ones.
Wow.
But there was a lot of different producers on this. Like I said, Rock Marciano did a song. Derringer did a couple songs. Mono and Stereo did a song. Young Mexico co-produced a song, and apparently Action Bronson produced his own.
Really?
Yeah.
Which
that's
one?
what he was credited for doing it on Genius, at least. Tongpo, the second song on the record, with Conway the Machine, which is such a huge fucking get for him. And I just kind of wasn't really impressed with what Conway did. But Conway raps on the fucking sickest, most just awesome gangster beats right now. the Griselda the whole Griselda family, or the Griselda Mafia, or whatever they call themselves, this whole group of people, West Side Gun, Benny the Butcher, I'm sure I'm forgetting some, Conway the Machine's in the same one, and they all have the fucking sickest beats right now. So hearing Conway on a weird, goofy ass, apparently produced by Action Bronson beat on Tongpo, it just didn't work.
Kind of a weird Western kind of like world beat or something.
Yeah, kind of world like that's a good way to put it, because I got like African Western vibes from it, but it was probably my least favorite beat on the record, to be honest. And I love when they use the cool samples, obviously, but when they don't put like a heavy kick drum on it, it just doesn't have. A lot of his songs have this great groove, but when they don't have any semblance of a kick drum, and the bass is a stand-up bass on this sample, it's just like, it's very different for hip-hop, but I just don't enjoy it as much. So the beat just like didn't land with me. But I mean, with that said, I think every single fucking song on this record is an honorable mention for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except Hound Dog.
All right, well, maybe let's get into some nugs.
I can do without it. Yeah, let's do it. Dude, I mean, I'm really interested in hearing your first choice nug as someone who didn't really like the record. You're wrong, which is fine.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right.
Every song is a choice nug except Hound Dog.
All right. Hound Dog.
Shut the fuck up.
It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs. It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I think
You're fucking with me,
I need different expectations for Action Bronson. Because I keep expecting him to go further with these interesting beats he has.
Okay.
Right? And like kind of go further with his vocal style and his lyrics. But every album, delivery's the same, lines are the same, and he gets these interesting beats, but he doesn't do much to like expand on them or anything like that.
Yeah, that, and also a lot of probably the cooler beats, the ones with the most going on, are the shorter songs on the records too. He does one verse and then he's done.
Action's no stranger to short songs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most of them are less than 3 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. But with all that being said, Hound Dog is my first Narnug.
I can't fucking believe that.
It completely doesn't fit on the album.
It doesn't at all, and it's such a almost like a non-opener to me. I thought it was decent, but I just don't see the point.
I agree with that completely, but I love like these guitar riff led rap songs. Yeah. Even if this riff kind of gets old a little bit, through the song, I think it's a cool energy. I think the riff is interesting enough. It goes up half a step sometime through the song.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of reminds me of Easy Rider a little bit.
Easy Rider. Yeah. And I actually took the time to reverse the song, like download it and reverse it. And the reverse you hear in the background is just his verse. He just does his verse. And then they put it in reverse before he does the verse.
Yeah, I know. It's just, and then it doesn't, to me, it's very weird starting an album about a crocodile named after a crocodile with a dog barking. It didn't make any sense to me. And like, you start an album called Cocodrillo Turbo with a song called Hound Dog. I just don't understand.
But you know what? I liked it. I think it had some of my... I think overall, I really liked the lyrics on this one. Smoking drugs, ass naked, just a hat on. Run 100 miles in a downpour with 6 giraffes on my back.
Yeah, see, it's like super heady, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just the beat kind of got on my nerves a little bit on this one.
I can understand that for sure.
And it is exactly like you said. It's just a 5-second sample played over and over and over again. So it's my least favorite beat.
I think it's the most memorable song to me. It was kind of a thing where it was hard to remember what a certain song sounded like for me on this one.
Well, I feel like it's all downhill from here with anything I'm going to hear from you.
We'll see.
If we're this far apart in our choice nugs, I know we're going to be far apart in our rating. Fuck me.
All right. Well, what's your first nug?
First choice nug, man. It bounced all over the place, but it was almost Estaciones because I love that beat so much, and I love when Action disrupts Hologram. It just feels like he had so much to say. He couldn't hold it back, but I really didn't enjoy Hologram's feature at all, so it kind of got on. I couldn't pick it as a choice nug. So my first one is Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
I feel like that is probably his strongest stuff on the record, and probably his strongest stuff in the last 3 records.
Man, I really hope he goes further with this like concept of kind of like having these samples come in and come out.
Yeah. That's all Alchemist, dude. I'm telling you, he had the best beats on the record.
I kind of wish he like did something with his vocals to kind of like go along with that. Maybe like he stops for a second and something weird happens in the music and like,
yeah,
but it was same delivery as every other song. And I was wondering how Alchemist like chose where to have the music come in and out, because it seems random.
It does seem really random. I feel like him and Alchemist just like, they probably see eye to eye completely and can sense each other's rhythms and everything too, but they probably just collaborate, man. Like I was gonna say Action. Oh man, I totally spaced. Oh, I feel like one of the things that he does really well, and one of the things I like really well, is that when he comes in on songs, a lot of times the beat kind of cuts out for a second and then kicks back in. Like the percussion will stop and then it'll come back in, and it's like such a great entrance, back into the song. But yeah, Sub-Zero just had such a great like jazzy beat. I thought Action, definitely his strongest stuff on the record for me. The wordplay is just awesome, and it sounds like he's trying really hard. He sounds really inspired on this song, so it just stood out to me.
It's so weird. I think he feels the same way, because this is the only music video that I found.
See, it's the
for
single.
This
yeah,
album.
It's the single for sure on the record.
Yeah, and it's so weird because like the music video is him bodyboarding, and it's in this big old hurricane, and he's going through these waves, and then he gets on a car running down the road, and like this song is so not that energy at all.
No, it's so chill.
That it was like I kind of respect it, that like the vibe is so off.
Yeah, man, I kind of respect what he's doing also as a rapper, because he's really DIY that way. He's
Sure.
he's not paying for these, $50,000, $100,000 music video shoots. He doesn't have the money to do it. But what he can do is film himself doing something that he would probably do anyway, and just get someone to do some trippy shit on it. And that's a lot cheaper, man. He's releasing his own stuff, I think it's I love his DIY style, and that's kind of what I like about his, weird ass music videos like that he does. Like, I don't think he's done a really big music video since like Headband versus Durag. That was like a huge production. I don't think he's done anything since.
Nah, man, it looks like he just kind of goes in front of a green screen and just goes crazy with it.
Yep. I don't think Action has fuck you money, but I think he's got enough to fucking, be pretty goddamn popular and come out with a lot of stuff. Man.
Like, I've been watching a lot of like YouTube videos of him going out. It's like, fuck, that's delicious, but like the YouTube version or something.
For sure. He's huge. I mean, he's getting huge, man. He has 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Like, that's huge.
I feel like he's got some big boy money.
I mean, at this point, to be able to produce a bunch of stuff, you're probably right. I'm probably way off, because he's self-releasing so many things. It feels like that he's got to have the money to be able to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And I love it, man. What was your second choice nug on this album you didn't like?
You know what? You said everything else is an honorable mention, but I'm thinking this might be the second unhonorable mention for you.
No.
Because it's not bassy at all. There's like no kick. There's like no bass. It's the last song on the album.
I loved it, man. Storm of the Century.
Okay. Storm of the Century featuring Young Mexico, the classic Young Mexico sax feature.
Give us more Young Mexico, for real.
If we could just like get him on like a more upbeat, fast-paced song, I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, because this is
maybe he only does like...
Yeah, he only does jazzy stuff. This is very similar to his last feature.
Right, which is like, hey man, like, I'll take it whenever I can get it. This guy is fantastic at the sax.
Yeah.
It's always super choice for the music. But I really like the sample on this one.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a guitar head or something.
Just really
it's not
bluesy guitar, right?
It's super bluesy, super minimalist, very chill. And it being the last song, and I just like how it meshed with Action's voice and delivery.
Yeah, it does work really, really well. It's a great closer to an album, kind of a traditional slow ballad type closer. Great lines in it, looking like a member of Latino Heat, but it's baklava. It's just, he brought a really good energy to this song, and the beat is perfect. It doesn't go anywhere. It's chill the entire time, and it ends with a fucking saxophone solo. Like, where can you go wrong?
Yeah,
you know? I think this was the one that Young Mexico is also credited as a producer. So I don't know what exactly he did on it, but yeah, he at least produced his fucking saxophone.
Yeah, man. Well, what is your second nug?
Well, let's talk about all of my honorable mentions first.
That's every single song except for mine.
Yeah, literally every song is an honorable mention on this.
Right.
But, it's crazy.
I'm giving you 2 minutes.
What's up?
You got 2 minutes.
There's no possible way I could talk about all of it in 2 minutes. But it bounced around a bunch, and before we started recording, it was going to be Zambezi. Because I like the beat a lot on Zambezi, but it just... His whole verse just kind of turned me off a little bit from the whole thing. Action has a really great verse on it.
It seems like the weakest parts of this album to you are the features.
Yeah, they are, for sure. And I gotta go with Zambezi, because it's one of my favorite Action verses. It's my second favorite Action verse on the whole record.
And I think it's the only one where he goes second. I don't know if that means
Yeah,
anything.
I thought that was weird too. I mean, I know him and Rock have been doing stuff together for a really long time, so maybe it was just a bit of a respect thing from Action, but I thought that was a little weird. But it is the beat that, one of the beats that Action comes in and the beat stops for a second while he's saying his line, and it's just such a, it's just
Right.
it's almost him walking in the room, But yeah, it's my second favorite verse by him. I love the funky beat on it that kind of breaks up all the same that you hear on the record. It has really cool, like, that old school funk, whatever that keyboard is, a Wurlitzer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can never remember.
Just that deep. And it's got, I appreciate the little, like, distant percussion things on the song that come every once in a while. I think that's adds a vibe to it.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, it ends with about 15-20 seconds of a crocodile growling at you.
They had to make it to the 30-minute mark for this album. So.
Yeah, he's like, come on, man, just fill in a bunch of animal noises in there.
I don't know, just like use forest sounds or something.
I gotta say that I'm surprised 91 wasn't one of your honorable mentions because of the beat. It has kind of one of those after-school special beats that you sometimes
Yeah,
enjoy.
I did like that one a lot.
That's what I thought. And it had the best opening line about Magic Johnson's dick.
Yeah, I mean that's classic.
But it's another honorable mention for me just because of Action. But I thought it was going to be a honorable choice nug for you because
I think it's my honorable mention / third nug. I like how they use the sample voice on this beat.
Yeah,
with it just
I
kind
got
of
love
every once in a while.
Get down, I got love.
Never talk.
Yeah, that is nice, right? Kind of like a Motown feel.
Yeah, and just like, I don't know, an old timey piano with a beat behind it is just like.
I knew you like it.
It's kinda,
sounds like a fucking Sesame
like
Street song.
Whatever, dude. It's just an old timey piano, man. That's all it is.
Exactly. All right, man. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it straight from the fucking crocodile's mouth. Right. What your rating is on this record.
All right. Well, look.
That's a really bad start. That's a horrible start to any sentence. Look.
What is your rating?
All right, listen.
Hear me out.
So don't turn the podcast off yet. Give me like 3 minutes.
Yeah, whatever. You're about to get canceled.
Shit. Bronson is solid and he's consistent.
Yes. Obviously.
It seems like he's starting to put some good effort into this again. Cooking is his first passion. Maybe he's been, kind of focusing more on that, more on the TV show. He's got a book. He's got, he had a TV series.
Yeah, 3 seasons on Vice, and then has continued doing it on YouTube.
And I think, if nothing else, the beats are interesting and refreshing from literally like any other rapper.
For real.
Making music.
And even though Alchemist is producing a shit ton of other rappers, they're not using any of these beats.
Well, because Action just has completely different influences, and he's not afraid to have that be the basis of his music.
Yeah, for sure. And he's not afraid, like we were saying earlier, to not include a heavy kick drum or a heavy bass on his tracks. He's all in on his style.
I don't think there was like a single 808 on this entire record.
I couldn't call one out. If anything, there was just live drums.
Yeah. And so that I appreciate immensely, even if the beats on this one are, they're consistent. It's this same section of the song repeated through the entire thing with little to no developments. And so it's kind of hard for me to stay interested in the song. And I think if I'm ever chilling and I want to listen to rap, I think I'm just gonna like listen to something like Denzel Curry's newest record,
Right.
Or maybe like something more upbeat, like 91, where it's like it's chill, but it's still got a groove, and it's got like this Sesame Street piano.
Yep. Just call it what it is.
You know, I after this, I'm just not really gonna expect anything more from Action Bronson, which is, it's fine. It's probably what I should have been doing this whole time, but I am gonna expect consistent, good music, good songs, even if they don't tickle my little fancy like they do for you.
Where's this going?
In any case, I'm gonna give this one a 6.0.
Higher than I thought you were going to give it.
It's, it's not bad. Action is always entertaining to listen to, even if his delivery is kind of the same for me on every song, and I'm not a big fan of the constant bravado rappers.
Right.
But I do appreciate the ridiculousness he brings and how you can kind of tell that he doesn't take himself too seriously.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's when I started understanding that about Action. That's what made me start liking him even more, was that he talks so much fucking shit on every single song. He sounds like the cockiest, most arrogant person you'll ever meet in your life. And then you see him on Fuck That's Delicious, or, he hasn't portrayed himself too well in interviews, unfortunately. But on Fuck That's Delicious, he just seems like such a fucking goofball. So I started understanding that it's all just meant to be funny. And so Action, I think, is hilarious. I think, again, I thought he brought a lot of intensity on this record in terms of his lyricism. It sounded like he was trying way harder than his last couple of albums. I think his wordplay was on point. He's doing all of his usual shit talking and references to everything I love and more. And I've learned so much from his lyrics alone. I've gotten into so many things just from Action Bronson. Right. I loved pretty much all the beats on this record except a few. I didn't like the features, but that didn't really take away from the album for me. I think this is Action's strongest work since Blue Chip 7000, personally.
Wow.
I don't know if that's
beating Lamb Over Rice.
Lamb Over Rice I don't count as a full record, so I'm talking full album. Lamb Over Rice was like 7 songs. Lamb Over Rice was good. Okay. I'll say since Lamb Over Rice. I'll say that.
You're
welcome.
I'm trying to be as annoying as possible on this episode.
I think his beats are unique. I love all the music that he pulls from. I've made a playlist on Spotify just of Action Bronson's songs that he has sampled and all his producers have sampled, and I love all of the original songs. He's gotten me into the weirdest shit. I think this album's really heady. I think it's really great for fucking smoking weed to it. I think all the songs have a psychedelic vibe, which help a lot to it, and I just dig Bronson's DIY style. And, I have a kind of a special connection to Action Bronson, too. One of my best friends that passed away a few years ago, he got me into Action, So I just feel like Action can really do no wrong for me. But sure. I can be honest enough, when I can tell when my favorite kid, kind of sucks at baseball sometimes. Or he kind of, he's usually really good at drawing, but his last few things are like, well, buddy, I'll put it on the fridge, but I'm not going to tell anyone that it was you that drew it if they ask. So, with all that said, man, I love this album. I can listen to it. I've heard it so many times already before we even recorded, and it didn't feel like I had to. I just kept listening to it because I was psyched that I feel like it was the strongest stuff in a while. So I'm going to give it a solid 8.5.
Okay. That's kind of where I expected you to land.
Yeah. I think, again, it was his strongest stuff in a while. It's not the strongest stuff he's ever done. So compared to, Blue Chip 7000, which is probably my favorite of his, and if not Mr. Wonderful, is right under that. you know, and even his earlier stuff, well done. I mean, he just was bringing it so hard in the beginning, and I feel like this is the best he's done so far. So I'm giving you a fucking B+, my dude.
Mr. Wonderful, for anyone curious, is my favorite Action record.
It's
by
fucking
far.
great. The first 3 or 4 albums of his were just fire.
I don't think I've listened to his mixtapes yet. I do want to listen to his discography eventually.
You should.
But I can say the same of like 20 other artists.
Yeah. I'll just send you a playlist of all songs that he's ever been on, which I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can just poke around in there. Okay.
See, there's fucking Blue Chips 1 and 2 is already like 40 songs.
So fucking good. Those EPs are amazing, or those mixtapes are amazing, dude.
Jesus Christ.
Well, buddies, what did you think about this record? Do you guys love Action Bronson as much as I do, or do you love Action Bronson as much as Brett does? Tell us which one it is. Is it are you well done like me, or are you fucking medium rare like Brett?
People like medium rare more, dude.
That doesn't matter. You know what I mean.
Yeah, right.
But what did you think of this record, man? For real. People, women, genderless folk, whatever you identify as. Tell us what you think. On our Instagram at EBPcast. On fucking YouTube at EBPcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you're listening to us right now, you can keep listening to us on it. And we have like 60 other episodes that you can listen to of full albums that we talk, like full episodes where we go really in depth. We have like 15 or 20 shorties that are 20-30 minute longs. If you guys prefer those, go check out. I get it if you don't want to listen to us for fucking 50 minutes to an hour and a half to talk about one goddamn record and just talk in circles sometimes. I get it.
Talking literally twice as long as the
I
records.
get it. If you don't like that, we have what we call shorties, which are 20, not even really going above 25-minute episodes of albums that we just listened to. It's our first impression of the record. We literally record the freshest perspective. We literally record seconds after we're done listening to it for the first time. And those are pretty unique, man. So go check those out. I'm on Instagram at Jean-Luc Guitard. Brett's on Instagram at Brett Hanrahan with like 72 U's or something for some reason.
There it is.
I
missed that.
Want to thank you guys for listening to this record. I want to thank you for listening to this record, which I know you're going to do. I want to thank you for listening to this episode. Brett, what would you rate this episode?
I'm going to rate this episode a solid 8.5.
8.5. I agree. You had an 8.5. I'm going to give myself about a 9.8 in terms of performance.
All right. Yeah. Well, because see, I feel like I fucking brought it, and you brought it home and just laid on the couch with it.
Okay. Well, don't tell people what I'm doing right now. Don't give away the secret sauce, man.
Well, it's just weird that you got a signed vinyl and you haven't let it go for the last like 3
All right,
days.
well, we got to move on, Brett. Speaking of moving on, what are we talking about on the next episode? I think it's your choice, my dude.
It's my choice. I got 2 records. I want you to kind of tell me which way you're leaning.
Ooh, I get to pick?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we get to pick. The first, they're both new.
Okay.
Relatively,
right.
I'd say. The first step... fucking Jesus. The first record is by a band called Pup.
Ooh, they have a new one. All right.
They have a new one. This is like episode 4 is the last time we talked about Pup.
And we got to do multiple episodes about the same band. It's like fucking canon now for us.
And their new record, The Unraveling of Pup the Band.
Alrighty then.
Which I've listened to once. I think it'll do me good to listen a couple more times. It sounds like they got some interesting stuff on there. I'd be excited to get into that, but I'm also interested in Pusha T's new album.
Yes.
It's Almost Dry.
I am weirdly interested in that too because I think Pusha T is extremely overrated.
Oh, okay.
So people keep saying that every song he writes is a fucking hit. Every song he writes is a gem. And I've heard his new album is fucking great, man. So, I gotta pick Pusha.
Pusha or
I gotta pick Pusha.
Pusha. You're pushing.
I'm
Pusha.
pushing for Pusha. I gotta say, I would love to talk about Pup, so I'm down to do that on the one after this, but we'll see because Kendrick is coming out with a new album pretty fucking soon, and we have to talk about it in this record.
I heard it was a double.
I heard it's a double too.
I don't know.
We'll see what we can do. All right, maybe we'll have a intermission album that we talk about, and we talk about the first record and then talk about the second record later. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
You know, we might go ahead and do that. Just depending. I mean, that might be what Kendrick wants anyway. We'll see. Bet, he's always got something up his sleeve.
I heard there's a book that's going to be a companion book to this too. But like you said, I'm sure Kendrick is doing 2 records, hoping that the Earbuds podcast does an episode for each one. That's what you were saying.
He wants to maximize the amount of episodes we talk about.
I'm sure he wanted us to do that specifically.
The only reason in my eyes that we haven't talked about Kendrick yet is that his albums are so massive and just thick.
Yeah, they're so hard to
content. Yeah. There's no way we could feasibly talk about them in an hour and be satisfied with them.
Well, you know who I think we can talk about for an hour and be satisfied is fucking Pusha T. So everyone, listen to that record before our next episode. And thanks again for listening, guys.
Is he overrated? Is he the best of all time? Come back next week and find out.
You will find out next week on Earbud.
This was good, Lucas.
This was good. 3.
See you, buddies.
2, 1.
Wow.
Bye, buddies.